It might sound strange, but play is very serious. Adults might be good at pretense and distractions, but kids at playtime are very sincere. Being as a little child is a matter of listening to our hearts, giving our all to sweet simplicity, and being brave enough to laugh. That's just about as honest as it gets. There's no kid food more honest than Franks and Beans, and my slightly more sophisticated version might just change your mind about the power of being playful. I'm Jenny Randolph. Welcome to this day. Let's jump right in, making this sweet and spicy, definitely more sophisticated version of Franks and Beans. As you saw in the intro, we chopped up about 1.5 cups of onion, and I like using a sweet onion in this recipe. We also opened 4 cans of pinto beans and rinsed them really clean. Now, if you want to use dried beans, you can absolutely do that. Just don't forget to soak them overnight because it helps the digestion process the next day, and it also helps sort of boil them a little bit faster so the beans get done on time. But Franks and Beans were America's first convenience food. So I don't feel too bad about using canned beans, especially if this is like a weeknight meal, you're trying to get dinner on the table, and this is just an amazing way to do that. So don't feel bad about using canned beans and taking some shortcuts here and there. I do it all the time. So this recipe is completely vegan, and it calls for 8 non-meat hot dogs, or vegetarian or vegan hot dogs. And I like to use Light Life brand Smart Dogs because they just slice really well, they hold up in all of the liquid that we're gonna be putting in, and they taste pretty good too. Now, Beyond Meat has just come out with a product. Their brats are really good, but at this current time, they're really hard to get your hands on until they start making them more available to the public. So stick with a brand that you know and use that. So we wanna just start cutting these about 1 inch to 1.5 inch pieces. Pretty simple. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about being silly and the ability to laugh and having that childlike quality. Now, if you've watched the other couple of videos from this month, you know that we've been concentrating on the idea of being as a little child. And this one is so important. Play is so serious to kids. And I don't know where we lose it, but sometime, somewhere along the line, we lose our ability to take things a little lightly. We get so serious. When's the last time you laughed so hard that you had tears coming out of your eyes? When is the last time that you put away all of the things that made you feel stressed and you had a moment where you just were like, you know what, I'm just gonna go and take the day off and go play with my family, or watch a silly movie, or read a book that is not supposed to make me the next millionaire or get me to that place where I'm just the most spiritual person on the planet. When's the last time you did that? Play and not taking yourself so seriously is absolutely an important part of life. And children remind us of that all the time. So what I want you to do, and your challenge for this week, is to find something that you lose all time doing. Go out and play today. Go do something. And if you have to take a little kid with you and you need that as an extra motivation, do that too. Take a niece, take a nephew, take your own children, take your grandchildren, or borrow a friend's kid and go out and play. So before we head over to the stove to put this all together and to start it cooking, I did want to talk to you about the kind of bouillon that I use. Usually I make my own and I stick it in the refrigerator or the freezer, and I use it for my soups and stews. But since we're talking about convenience food and making it easier on yourself, I wanted to share with you the brand that I use. And this is a Better Than Bouillon, and this is a seasoned vegetable base. And really about 1 tablespoon of this is equivalent to 8 ounces or 1 cup of bouillon. So today when you see me over at the stove, what you're gonna see is me just putting in about 3 teaspoons of this because we put in 3 cups of water. So that's what you're gonna see. This is the kind of bouillon that I use. And let me just show you what it looks like. It's kind of a paste. And you mix it with water. And I use it all the time. They also have a wonderful no chicken bouillon that if you're making a chicken dish, it works really, really well too. So now let's get over to the stove and start preparing our franks and beans. So over medium heat, you want to start with about a tablespoon of olive oil and then put in our chopped onions and 3 cloves of minced garlic. Add a little pinch of salt to help it sweat. Once the onions have cooked down a little bit and they're starting to become translucent, now is the time that we want to throw in our hot dogs. We're going to let these brown up just a bit. So now that we have a little bit of color on the hot dog pieces, we're going to add our liquid. We're going to start with 1 cup of coffee and 3 cups of water, 3 teaspoons of the bouillon paste, and our 4 cans of rinsed beans. Now here comes all of the seasonings that is going to make this taste so amazing. For the sweet part of this, we're going to start with a 1/4 cup of brown sugar and a 1/4 cup of molasses. You can measure this out or you can eyeball it. I always like to eyeball it. Now here's for the spicy part of it. We're gonna use 2 tablespoons of chili powder and about a teaspoon of sriracha. Let's give that a quick stir. And to finish it up, we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of salt and a teaspoon of dried mustard. Now we want to bring this to a boil over medium heat and let the liquid reduce and let all of those seasonings marry together and make this an amazing dish. It's going to be the perfect combination of sweet and spicy. Once it comes to a really good boil, you want to reduce the heat down to a low temperature. You just want it to sit and simmer for about 20 minutes. Now, if your franks and beans are not quite as thick as you want them, you can choose the consistency. You can always make a slurry, and I'm gonna do that today. So what I've used is a tablespoon of cornstarch and a tablespoon of water, and that's just gonna help to thicken it a little bit more. So we've done it. We have made a sophisticated version of franks and beans. Again, with all of my recipes, if you want to adjust the seasoning just a little bit, we used about a teaspoon of sriracha. If you want it less spicy and you have kids at home that don't like spicy stuff, you can always leave that part out. Adjust the seasoning to your taste and to your family's taste. I really hope that you enjoy this meal as much as I do. And when you eat it, remember, be a little bit silly, be more like a little child. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And please subscribe to my channel. If you've already subscribed, hit that notification bell, and that's gonna let you know every time I upload a video so that you won't miss anything. Thanks for stopping by.